By 45, I thought I had earned the right to stop looking over my shoulder. I had built Harper Marine from a leaky two-bay repair shop into one of the most reliable boat service businesses on the North Carolina coast. We sold used center consoles, handled engine rebuilds, did custom rigging, and in a town like ours, that kind of reputation mattered. My last name meant something at the marina. Men shook my hand firmly. Customers sent their brothers to me. On paper, it looked like the kind of life people spent decades chasing. At home, it looked even better. Rachel and I had been together for over 20 years. We met young, before the business, before the mortgage, before the children, and all the weight that comes with building a real life instead of just talking about one. We had 3 kids, a paid-off house with white siding and a wraparound porch, and the kind of routine that feels boring only to people who have never lost it. I used to come home smelling like salt, fuel, and engine grease, and Rachel would wrinkle her nose, smile anyway, and slide a plate onto the table. That was our rhythm. Our oldest was old enough to challenge me on everything. Our middle child had Rachel's quiet eyes and noticed more than she said. The youngest still ran to the door when he heard my truck in the driveway. There was always something in motion in that house. A backpack on the stairs. A half-finished science project on the counter. Rachel's coffee cup abandoned near the sink. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. And I trusted it. That's the part that keeps replaying in my head now. Not some dramatic warning sign. Not a moment of coldness I ignored. It was a complete absence of fear. I believed in my wife with the kind of confidence that only comes from years of shared mortgages, hospital visits, school pickups, and Sunday dinners with the same stories told twice. I believed whatever strain we had was ordinary. My long hours at the yard, her work responsibilities, teenagers getting older, life getting louder. Nothing about those days felt fragile. Most evenings, I'd lock up the shop just before sunset and take the long road home along the water. Boats would be rocking against their slips, masts ticking in the wind, the sky turning that deep bruised orange over the marina. I used to sit in my truck for a minute before going inside, looking at the porch light Rachel always left on for me. It felt like proof that no matter how hard I worked, I was heading back to something steady. I had no idea I was driving toward the last weeks of the life I thought I knew. Rachel came back from Seattle on a Thursday evening, just after 6. I remember because the sun was still hanging low over the trees, and I was in the driveway helping my son tie down a cracked fiberglass hatch I brought home from the shop. Her SUV rolled in slow, clean from the airport wash, and for a second everything looked normal. Then she stepped out, and even from 20 feet away, I could tell something had shifted. She looked rested in a way that didn't fit a work trip. Not just rested. Bright, polished, almost lit from the inside. Her hair was smoother than when she left. Her makeup still perfect after a cross-country flight. And she wore a cream blouse I hadn't seen before under a fitted tan coat. She smiled when she saw the kids, hugged them, laughed at something our youngest said. But when she got to me, the hug was quick. Her arms touched me, then disappeared. It felt more like checking a box than coming home. How was Seattle? I asked as I took her suitcase. Good, she said. Productive. Long. That was it. Rachel usually came back from trips with stories before she'd even taken off her shoes. Little details. Bad coffee at the hotel. A speaker who talked too long. A woman from Phoenix who overshared during lunch. I used to hear all of it while she unpacked. This time, she moved through the house like she was trying not to leave fingerprints. She answered questions, but only just enough. The retreat had been intense. The sessions had been valuable. The city had been beautiful but busy. Professional words, smooth words, empty words. At dinner, she picked at grilled chicken and salad and kept turning her phone face down every time it lit up. Not dramatic, not obvious enough for anyone else to clock it. But after 20 years with someone, you notice the tiny things. The angle of a wrist, the half-second pause before they answer, the way their attention stays hooked somewhere else, even while they're smiling across the table. That night, after the kids were upstairs, she stood in our bathroom applying moisturizer in slow circles, staring into the mirror like she was looking at a version of herself I couldn't see. "You okay?" I asked. She met my eyes in the reflection. Just tired. I nodded. But tired wasn't the word for what I was seeing. Tired people lean into home. They exhale. Rachel looked like part of her was still elsewhere, still turned towards something that hadn't stayed in Seattle. When she came to bed, she set her phone on the nightstand screen down, then changed her mind and slipped it under her pillow. That was the first moment a quiet thought crossed my mind. Not a conclusion. Not yet. Just a small, cold question I couldn't shake. The first few days after she came back, I told myself I was overthinking it. Work had been heavy at the yard. We were behind on 2 engine rebuilds, and a dealer out of Wilmington was pushing me on a delivery I couldn't rush. It would have been easy to blame my mood on that. Long hours do things to your head. They make you look for problems where there aren't any. But Rachel didn't go back to normal. She started waking up earlier than usual. Not for the kids. Not for anything at home. She'd be up before sunrise, already dressed, already put together, standing in the kitchen with her phone in one hand and coffee in the other, like she was waiting for something to happen. A week later, she joined a Pilates studio across town. That alone wasn't strange. Rachel had always cared about staying in shape, but this place wasn't like the local gym she used to go to. It was expensive, private sessions, glass walls, soft lighting. The kind of place people go when they want to be seen improving, not just improving. She bought new clothes, too. Not just a couple things. Entire outfits. Dresses that didn't match anything she already owned. Shoes she didn't need. A different style altogether. Sharper. More deliberate. I noticed because Rachel had always been practical with money. We built our life on that. Now, packages started showing up every other day. New client wants me to present differently, she said once, not even looking up from her phone. I nodded like that made sense. Then came the dinners. Late meeting. Client drinks ran long. Team needed me. Always said calmly. Always just believable enough. But the timing didn't fit her job. Not consistently. Not like this. She also stopped leaving her phone anywhere. Bathroom. Kitchen. Laundry room. It stayed with her. If she forgot on the counter and it buzzed, she'd come back for it immediately. No hesitation. No delay. Like instinct. One night, our daughter sat across from me at dinner, quietly pushing food around her plate. She looked at Rachel, then at me. "Mom's been weird," she said. Rachel smiled. "Weird how?" Our daughter hesitated. Too happy. The table went still for half a second. Rachel laughed it off. I'll take that as a compliment. But I didn't. Too happy wasn't happiness. It was performance. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Rachel slept beside me, her breathing slow, even. My mind kept replaying small things. The early mornings. The new clothes. The way she angled her phone away without thinking. The way her attention slipped. Just for a second, whenever it lit up. Individually, none of it proved anything. Together, it formed a pattern. And for the first time, I stopped asking myself if something was wrong. I started asking what it was. She told me on a Tuesday morning. I was halfway through my coffee, standing at the kitchen counter, still in my work clothes from the day before. The house was quiet for once. Kids already gone. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the soft ticking of the wall clock. "Ethan," she said. Her voice wasn't soft. It wasn't warm either. It was controlled. I turned slightly, cup still in my hand. "Yeah." She didn't sit down, just stood across from me, both hands resting flat on the counter, like she needed something solid to hold her up. "I'm pregnant." For a second, everything stopped. There's supposed to be a reaction in a moment like that. Shock, then joy. Maybe confusion, if it wasn't planned. But something warm, something that moves forward. I felt none of it, because she didn't look happy. Rachel looked afraid, not nervous, not overwhelmed. Afraid in a way that didn't belong in that kitchen. Her eyes flicked to mine, then away, like she couldn't hold the moment steady. I set my cup down slowly. "How far along?" I asked. "Early," she said too quickly. "A few weeks." "A few weeks." The words settled heavy. I didn't say anything right away. My mind did the math automatically, quietly, like it was trying not to be heard, counting backwards, lining up dates. Nights I was home. Nights she said she was working late. The week she was gone. Seattle. I looked at her again. She was watching me now, too carefully, waiting, measuring my reaction. You been to a doctor yet? I asked. Not yet. I'm scheduling it. I'll go with you. That's when it cracked. Just slightly. Her expression tightened. Not anger. Not even resistance at first. Just a flicker of something that didn't belong between a husband and wife talking about their child. I think I'll just go alone, she said. At least for the first one. It's nothing big. Nothing big. I nodded once, slow. Okay. But it wasn't okay. That was the moment the last piece slid into place. Not proof. Not yet. But something close enough that my chest felt tight and cold at the same time. Because it wasn't just what she said. It was how she said it. And more importantly, what she didn't want me to see. I didn't confront her. That would have been the fastest way to lose everything I needed. Instead, I slowed down. That night, I went through my usual routine. Locked the shop. Drove home along the water. Ate dinner with the kids. Asked Rachel about her day like nothing had changed. She answered the same way she had been for weeks. Smooth, controlled, just enough detail to sound real. Then she went upstairs early. I'm tired, she said. I waited. 10 minutes. 20. Long enough for the house to settle into silence. Long enough for her breathing to even out into sleep. Then I moved. Her old tablet was still in the living room drawer. She hadn't used it in months. At least not in front of me. I remembered that because I had set it up for her years ago. Synced everything, email, messages, backups, before she switched to her newer phone. Most people forget about their old devices. They forget what stays behind. I sat at the kitchen table, the same spot where she told me she was pregnant, and powered it on. The screen lit up slow, dim at first, then clear. No password. That told me everything I needed to know. I opened her messages. At first, nothing. Regular threads. Work contacts. Group chats. Then I noticed one thread with no name, just a number. No contact saved. That alone was enough to make me stop breathing for a second. I opened it. The messages weren't new. They went back months. Not just casual. Not just emotional. Detailed. Planned. Structured in a way that made it clear this wasn't something that just happened. His name showed up halfway down. Derek Nolan. I sat back slightly, reading slower now. There were references to trips, to timing, to finally having space, to Seattle, and then one message sent 3 nights before she came home. I keep thinking about that last night. If this works, we don't have to hide anymore. I didn't react. I just kept reading. There were screenshots of reservations, a rooftop restaurant in Seattle, late dinners, hotel confirmations, and then something closer to home, charges, a waterfront hotel 15 minutes from my own shop, multiple dates, afternoons, evenings, times that lined up perfectly with her client meetings. I reached for my phone and opened our joint account. It didn't take long to find them. Same amounts. Same days. She hadn't even tried to hide all of it, just enough to feel safe. I went back to the messages. The tone changed as I scrolled closer to the present. Less excitement, more pressure. Talks about next steps, about his situation, about her being late, and then the message that locked everything into place. If it's mine, we need to decide before it gets complicated. I stared at that line for a long time. No anger. No shouting, just a quiet, cold clarity settling in. This didn't start in Seattle. Seattle was just where they stopped pretending. I locked the tablet and set it back exactly where I found it. Then I sat there in the dark kitchen, hands resting on the table, looking at nothing, not trying to process it, just letting the truth sit where it belonged. Solid, unavoidable, complete. I didn't sleep that night, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. By morning, everything in my head had already settled into place. Not emotions. Not yet. Just structure. Facts lined up clean, like tools laid out before a job. Rachel came downstairs around 7. Same routine. Coffee. Phone in hand. Calm. She glanced at me, You're up early. I didn't sleep much, I said. She nodded like that was normal, like we were still inside the same version of our life. I reached into the folder beside me and slid it across the kitchen table. Paper against wood. Soft sound. Final. She looked at it, confused at first. Then she saw the first page. Her face didn't drop all at once. It unraveled, slowly. "What is this?" she asked, but her voice had already changed. "Read it." She didn't want to. I could see that immediately. But she did anyway. One page. Then the next. Screenshots. Messages. Dates. The hotel charges. The line about the baby. By the third page, her hands weren't steady anymore. "Ethan." "Keep going." She swallowed and flipped again, faster now, like getting through it quicker might somehow make it smaller. It didn't. When she finished, she didn't look up right away. Silence stretched across the table. Then it started. "It's not what it looks like," she said. I didn't respond. I was stressed. You've been working all the time. I felt alone. Still nothing. It just happened. That one almost made me smile. Months of planning doesn't just happen, I said quietly. She flinched. Her story shifted immediately. It wasn't supposed to go this far. "Derek, he said things. He made me feel..." "Did you sleep with him?" I asked. She closed her eyes for a second. "Yes." The word landed flat. No drama. No tears. Just confirmation. I nodded once. "And the baby?" That's where she broke. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a crack. "I don't know," she said. It came out small. Honest. And for the first time since this started, she looked exactly like what she was. Someone who had lost control of something she thought she could manage. "He said he'd leave his wife," she added quickly, like she needed to fill the silence. "We talked about it. About starting over. If it was his..." She stopped. Didn't need to finish. I leaned back slightly in my chair, watching her. All those weeks. The distance. The confidence. The careful movements. Gone. Replaced with something scattered and desperate. "I was going to tell you," she said. "No," I replied. "You were going to decide first." That hit her harder than anything else. Because it was true. She wasn't caught in a mistake. She was caught mid-plan. The room felt smaller now. Quieter. She looked at me like she was waiting for something. Anger. Yelling. Anything she could react to. I gave her none of it. Just calm. Just certainty. And for the first time since she walked back into this house from Seattle, she understood exactly where she was standing. I told her to leave that same morning. Not later. Not after we talked it through. Not after we figured anything out. "Pack what you need," I said. "You're not staying here." She stared at me like she hadn't expected it to move that fast. "Ethan, we need to think." I already did. That ended it. No yelling. No back and forth. Just direction. She moved through the house quietly, pulling a suitcase from the closet, folding clothes with shaking hands. The same hands that used to set the table every night. The same hands that signed school forms, packed lunches, rested on mine in quiet moments that now felt like they belonged to someone else's life. The kids came home before she finished. That part I couldn't delay. Our son noticed first. He looked from the suitcase to Rachel, then to me. "What's going on?" I didn't answer immediately. I watched Rachel instead. She couldn't look at them. That told me everything. "Your mom's leaving for a while," I said. "For what?" our daughter asked. No one sat down. No one moved. I exhaled slowly. There's been a problem between us. Something serious. Our son's expression hardened instantly. "What kind of problem?" Rachel tried to speak. "Don't," I said, not raising my voice. She stopped. I looked at them. She's been seeing someone else. The words didn't echo. They didn't need to. They landed. Heavy. Final. Our son's reaction was immediate. "You're kidding me," he said, but it wasn't a question. His jaw tightened, hands curling into fists at his sides. "Are you serious?" Rachel started crying then. "I didn't mean for this to..." "Stop," he snapped. "Just stop talking." Our daughter didn't say anything. She just stepped back, like something invisible had pushed her. Her face went flat, distant, processing, but already pulling away. The youngest looked between all of us, confused. So, when is Mom coming back? No one answered him. That silence did more damage than anything I could have said. Rachel tried again, softer this time. I love you guys. This doesn't change. It changes everything. Our son cut in. I didn't step in. This wasn't something I could smooth over. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was impact. Real, immediate, irreversible. Rachel zipped her suitcase with shaking hands. The sound was louder than it should have been. She hesitated at the door like she expected something. Permission, maybe. Forgiveness. A pause. She got none. Then she left. The house didn't feel empty. It felt broken. Not loud. Not chaotic. Just off. Like something central had been removed, and everything else was still standing out of habit. That night, I sat at the kitchen table alone long after the kids went to their rooms. Same chair. Same place. She told me about the pregnancy. Now it was quiet. No phone lighting up. No movement upstairs. No second presence in the house. Just me and the weight of what she had actually done. Not just to me. To all of us. The house stayed quiet for 3 days. Not peaceful, just controlled. The kids moved around each other carefully, like loud sounds might make things worse. Our son barely spoke. Our daughter stayed in her room more than usual. The youngest kept asking small questions I answered with smaller words. I didn't rush anything. I handled what needed to be handled. On Monday morning, I met with my attorney. I didn't bring emotion into that office. Just documents, dates, facts, the messages, the financial records, the timeline. He didn't interrupt much. Just nodded, asked for clarification, made notes. When I finished, he leaned back slightly. You've already done most of the work, he said. I like things clean, I replied. We started moving immediately. Separation structure, asset protection, next steps. That's when something shifted. While reviewing the financials more closely, he paused on a set of charges I had flagged but not fully followed. These, he said, tapping the page. Where exactly did these come from? Joint account, I said. Same period. He shook his head slightly. Not all of them. I leaned forward. Some of the transactions weren't from our personal account. They were tied to a business card. My business. Harper Marine. For a second, I thought it was a mistake. Then I looked closer. The dates matched her client work. The freelance marketing help she had offered me months ago when I was trying to expand online sales. I had given her limited access, expenses, small campaigns, vendor payments. Nothing major. Enough for her to move money without it looking out of place. Hotel charges, restaurant reservations, travel expenses, not just hidden, funded through my own company. I didn't react right away. Just sat there, looking at the numbers, letting them settle into something solid. That complicates things, my attorney said carefully. No, I replied. It clarifies them. Because this wasn't just an affair anymore. It wasn't just betrayal inside a marriage. She had pulled it into my work, into the thing I built from nothing, the thing that fed our family, paid for that house, put those kids through school. She hadn't just stepped outside the life. She had used it. We dug deeper. And that's when Derek Nolan stopped being just a name in messages. He had a record, internal complaints at his firm, quiet ones, handled privately, inappropriate relationships. More than one, different cities, same pattern. Rachel wasn't special. She was part of a list. That detail didn't make me angry. It made everything colder, more precise, because whatever she thought she was building with him, it was never real to begin with. By the time I left that office, I wasn't thinking about what I had lost. I was thinking about what needed to be done next. The test came back on a gray morning. No build-up, no ceremony, just an email notification while I was sitting in my truck outside the shop, engine off, hands resting on the wheel. For a moment, I didn't open it. Not because I was afraid of the answer, because I already knew it. Still, I tapped the screen, opened the file, read it once, then again, slower. Probability of paternity, 0%. Clean, clinical, final. I locked my phone and set it down on the passenger seat. Outside, the marina looked the same as it always did. Boats rocking gently, gulls circling, a man down the dock, hosing off his deck like nothing in the world had shifted. But something had, not in a dramatic way, just settled. The last question was gone. By then, Rachel had already moved out of town. Small rental, 20 minutes inland, far enough that she didn't run into people she knew every day, but not far enough to disappear completely. The baby had been born 2 weeks earlier. I hadn't gone. I hadn't asked. There was nothing left there that belonged to me. Derek was gone too. Not physically. He still existed somewhere, but gone from her life. He cut contact before the birth. No calls. No visits. No promises fulfilled. Whatever version of a future. He sold her dissolved the moment reality got involved. I heard things, though, not from her. From others. His wife found out. Everything. Not just Rachel. Others too. Patterns. Complaints that had been ignored or buried. His job didn't survive it. Neither did his marriage. The kind of fall that doesn't make headlines but travels fast enough in the right circles. And Rachel, people stopped defending her. At first, there had been hesitation, confusion, the usual quiet support people give when they don't know the full story. That didn't last. The messages came out, the financial details, the timeline, the baby. Truth has a way of removing sympathy when it's complete. Her own family stepped back, not publicly, not loudly, just enough distance to make it clear she was standing on her own now. I didn't involve myself. Didn't need to. By the time the test results came in, everything that needed to fall apart already had. That afternoon, I went back to work. Finished an engine job I had started the day before. Took a call from a customer about a trade-in. Signed off on a parts order. Normal things. Steady things. Because that's what was left. Not the life I had before, but something solid enough to stand on. And for the first time since she said the word pregnant in that kitchen, there was nothing left to question. 2 years later, the house feels different. Not empty, not broken, just quieter in the right ways. The porch light still turns on every evening. The kitchen still fills with the smell of food, though now it's simpler. Fewer voices at once, but more honest ones. My son started spending more time at the shop after everything settled. At first, I thought it was just to stay busy. It wasn't. He learned fast. Not just the work, but the rhythm of it, the patience, the way you fix something properly instead of covering it up. I didn't push him. I didn't need to. He stayed. My daughter took longer. She doesn't say much about any of it even now, but she came back slowly, sat at the table again, started talking in small pieces, not about her mother, about school, about plans, about things that still move forward. The youngest stopped asking when things would go back to normal. Kids are just faster than adults. They just don't forget. Rachel tried to come back into their lives, not into mine. That part, she understood. She calls them, sees them sometimes, keeps things controlled, careful, like she's always aware of how much space she's allowed to take up now. The trust isn't there. Not fully. Maybe it never will be. That's not something I fix. That's something she lives with. As for me, I didn't rush anything. Didn't jump into distractions. Didn't try to replace what was gone. I worked. I stayed steady. Let time do what it does when you don't interfere with it. Then I met Megan. It wasn't dramatic. No spark. No rush. Just calm. She didn't ask me to explain everything. Didn't try to fill silence with questions. She understood enough without needing details. That mattered more than anything else. We take things slow, on purpose, because I'm not building anything that depends on illusion again. Sometimes I still think about that version of my life, the one I believed in without question, but I don't miss it, because now I understand something I didn't back then. It wasn't as solid as I thought. I was. That's the part that stayed. Rachel didn't destroy me. She removed herself from something she didn't value, and what was left was stronger without her.